Greetings and welcome to Stranded Deep. Oh yes, we're back in Stranded Deep. Look, it's our yellow raft, our very familiar yellow raft. We spent many an hour rowing this thing around, building our island paradise. Sadly, the island paradise is gone. It has been destroyed by save file updates that have broke them, and so on and so forth. But look at this ocean. Suddenly we're in a storm-tossed ocean. Look at the waves tossing us around. A much more dynamic ocean, and that is because we are in experimental build 0.05.E1, which is, of course, in the experimental branch. This is available on Steam if you opt into it. Now, it should be said that this is really just a test version of some of the new features that they've been implementing. There's lots of stuff that actually has been taken out of this version, but I wanted to jump in and take a look because it's really exciting to see Stranded Deep moving forward again. There's been a bit of a drought, if you will, of updates to Stranded Deep. We had quite a few cool updates in the first sort of few months after release, and then there was a bit of a long break, and I think that was because they were implementing Unity 5. They were getting to grips with some of the stuff they wanted to do, but now it looks like they're getting right back on track. They've got this fantastic new ocean system, which is called Ceto, which is actually a third-party ocean system, and my god, it's beautiful. Look at it. Just look at it. Let's grab the paddle here and we'll just go for a little row around. The raft kind of rides up over the waves realistically and comes crashing down the other side. There are different size waves. I mean, look at that. Look at that big one. Whoa, up and over. There does seem to be kind of freak waves from time to time as well, so you get like little general kind of like ocean undulations, and then you'll get these big ones hit you. And I've actually been turned out of the raft. I've been tossed clean out of it when I was testing earlier, which is just fantastic, isn't it? I mean, that's just amazing. It really adds a bit more dynamism and a bit more interest to the oceans, and really, it's really evocative. They've also implemented simple diurnal tides, so I guess twice a day you will get the tides rising and falling, which is just fantastic. I mean, it's really going to help bring the oceans alive in a much more dynamic way. Of course, oceans are only half the story. The other half is the islands, and that is the other big ticket item in this update, the new terrain system. This is something that they've been working on for quite a while now. They've completely rewritten the terrain system to support biome zones with much more detail. Zones now allow for large islands, which are either handcrafted or procedurally generated, or hopefully a combination of the two, like stitching together handcrafted zones to create different islands but still out of handcrafted content. I think in this current build, this is the only example of a handcrafted island. The others are still procedurally generated using like the old system. What am I doing here? Get a grip, man, get a grip! A road to the island! So let's go and take a look at this new terrain system, because this is something that's really exciting. Larger islands, more detailed islands with more going on them to kind of like really suck you into them. It was always a little disappointing in Stranded Deep when you made it to an island and it was kind of, you know, a few square meters maybe of sand poking up out of the ocean with a couple of trees and not a lot else on it. And of course they had vital resources that you needed. Look, potatoes, nice. But do these still poison you when you eat them? Sorry, I'm getting distracted, I know, but this was always something that I thought was a bit weird. They implemented the idea that raw potatoes cause food poisoning, but apparently no more. Excellent, they have fixed that little bugbear of mine. So, I mean, I'll pick up a few things here in case we get a chance to do more crafting. I'm not sure if I really will or not. I'd quite like to take a look at the new building system that they've implemented, but obviously we need a lot of sticks and yucca and other things to actually get started on that. But look, there are these new driftwood piles. Can we hack these up with our knife? We can, look. We'll hack up a driftwood pile. And obviously it takes ages because I'm just using a piddly little knife and not a massive great big axe. Can I even do it? There we go, we've done it! So it's been hacked up into a couple of, I guess these are driftwood trunks. They're just called trunks. But they're like trunks of trees. In fact, three driftwood trunks. So I guess those will then be broken down into sticks. Can we be bothered? We can always skip it. Indeed, look, sticks! And now we have sticks. Fantastic. I think the models for the palm trees have been improved or possibly changed, or maybe they've just added new ones. There's various other like flora and fauna that has been added. So, the new foliage that's been added, there is a new ceramon plant, a new banana frond plant, new ficus trees, which can be harvested for sticks, new palm trees, I guess that's these here, or ones like it at any rate, new heart-leafed philodendron plant. As you can tell, I'm an extremely experienced gardener. Ooh, yucca! That's always useful to find. Let's grab some yucca. Well, we can use that for possibly crafting if we get around to doing that later on. Grab a rock and a stick, because, as I said, you grab everything you can. Can I harvest this plant? No. Is this a philodendron? Philodendron, yes. The philodendron philodendrus, which is, of course, of the broadleaf plant genus, is often used by survivors to create umbrellas that they can shelter, see, from the sun. I mean, obviously, there we go, from the sun. Is that the translucency shader? Look. The sun kind of shines through it a little bit. Nice. I like it. Good. Well, we discovered the philodendron, so I think, pretty much we can call it a day there. I'm only joking. Right, what else have we got? New temporary rocks and cliffs. So that's these things over in the distance. Let's go and take a closer look at those. Because this is all part of the new procedural and handcrafted islands and the larger islands. Now, this island here is probably, or this kind of like sub-bit of the island is probably about the size that the original islands were in Stranded Deep. You occasionally found a slightly larger one. The old island paradise was built on the largest island that I found in the game, and it was, it was a little bit bigger than this, but not a lot bigger. We follow this little land bridge here across, past these beautiful new rock formations. I believe these are actually temporary. It says rocks, new temporary rocks and cliff models. If these are temporary, then I can't wait to see what the final versions are like. I think these are really beautifully crafted. They're probably fairly low poly. They could stand to be a little bit higher resolution. But nonetheless, they're very pretty. They've got some fantastic textures on them. And it really helps to make the islands pop. Now, I'd like to see them go further. Although this is definitely a step in the right direction, and I think having some handcrafted content in there really helps to make islands stand out and feel a little bit more realistic and a little bit more interesting and, give you things to discover. This is still a pretty small island, I think, in the grand scheme of things. If you actually were shipwrecked on this island, I think you'd be in serious trouble because there's just nothing to it. It feels a little bit more inlandy here between these two big rocks. But, you're still no more than, 20 feet from the sea at any given point? What I think would really make this game come alive would be larger islands. They don't need to be enormous, maybe like half a mile or a square mile, something like that. Big enough that you can have a bit of interior space, that you can have some interior detail, you can have stuff that you can, search the jungle for. Maybe make the jungle quite dangerous as well. So actually you tend to live on the fringe of the island by the sea where you've got easy access to food and other resources and stuff. And the actual deeper dungeons, you've got to properly equip yourself before... Did I say dungeons? Deeper jungle. Deeper jungle. You need to equip yourself properly. You could have caves. There's all sorts of cool stuff you could do with bigger islands. And I think that would get past some of the reliance that the game currently has on kind of, always seeking out new islands because, you always need more resources. And although that's a cool part of the game and, obviously that's an integral part of the game that needs to stay, whether or not that's the direction they're going to take it in, I don't know. But that's what I would like to see. Much bigger islands. This is a good step in the right direction. Let's see lots more of it. I'm just going to chuck down everything that I've collected. It isn't an enormous amount of stuff, but I think, I'm pretty much, that's enough to craft maybe an axe. I could craft a hammer and try doing some building, but we don't have enough other materials, so let's just grab an axe, and then I've got, the ability to chop things slightly faster. If we decide to continue, if people want to see more, if they want to see me try and actually, explore the building system, please do let me know. Leave a comment, and we can experiment with that. Should we just swim for now? Oh, there was a bit of a sudden pop in there of the other island. Clearly, they've got to work on their billboards once again. But should we go for a swim? Let's do it. We're going to swim across to the other island. We're going to swim through this fantastic sea once again. I'm not sure if the buoyancy... I think they're still working on buoyancy and other effects like that. So, although we do rise and fall with the waves a little bit, I would expect perhaps a little bit more effect from that going forward. There are a few sort of weird glitches and artifacts and sort of effects. I think the water is perhaps a little bit too transparent. Look, you can see right through the waves, almost like they're made of sort of glass or some kind of jello or something. I think it looks kind of cool, but it's probably not terribly realistic. Also, I don't think there's any animal life. I'm not in danger of being eaten by a shark. Although the patch notes explicitly mention there's no fish, which look, we can see no fish around. You've still got like the seaweed and other sort of like undersea flora, but no fauna. It doesn't. It actually says that sea animals may be behaving oddly. I haven't seen any at all, so I think we're just going to assume we're perfectly fine. Obviously, the lack of animals is just a temporary step. This because it is, once again, I reiterate, an experimental build. This isn't anything like as complete or finished as the game experience from the official build, but it does give you an opportunity to take a look at all the new in-development stuff, which is awesome. Although there are the odd bugs. Look. For example, an island with a perfectly straight cliff edge to it. Obviously not supposed to look like that, but nonetheless, it's pretty cool, and you can really see like the magnitude of the waves against it. Oh, hold on, I'm glitching into it a little bit there. Can we get out actually onto the shore and look down from above? Here we go. Here we go. There it is. It's very straight. And obviously not meant to look like that, but that is Stranded Deep through and through, isn't it? It wouldn't be the same. In fact, it'll be a sad day when this game is finally released and all the bugs and everything are ironed out, because the sort of the mystery and the enigmas that they created all added to the ambiance, for me anyway. But then perhaps I'm just a little bit strange in that respect. Look at this. It's a floating tree. Nice! Good old Stranded Deep. Interesting. Look at this, though. Look at this. This palm tree. Does anybody live on like places where palm trees grow? Do they grow like this? Well, I think that'll do for this little sneak peek at the experimental build 0.5.E1. Looking forward to seeing a lot more of this development going on in Stranded Deep. It's really nice to see this is starting to pick up. I have been following it. There have been a few updates before now. They do fairly regular blog posts as well about sort of like what they're working on. The new building system sounds really cool. There's a lot of stuff going on, and we are going to start seeing it. And of course, the island paradise will resume as soon as we can do that realistically. But until then, I have been Weird Wizard. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you later. Previously on Island Paradise, we are going to build the island resort of Weirdorm. Sand Shark is still here! Hey! I am Spear Fisherman! Oh, fantastic. Right, what is actually... Oh no! I've just fallen inside a bucket. Great. Help me! As I die a slow, painful death of starvation.